Welcome friends, in this video let's discuss about eutrophication. What are the causes for this and what are the effects of eutrophication and how do you mitigate this phenomenon of eutrophication. First, the definition. Eutrophication is the ecosystem's response to the addition of artificial or natural substances, mainly phosphates and nitrates, through detergents, fertilizers or sewage to an aquatic ecosystem. In simple terms, eutrophication is due to the addition of nutrients like phosphorus, phosphates and nitrates through various sources into the water body. Okay, and this result in an undesirable phenomenon called harmful algal blooms, where the algae are grown in an unsustainable proportion, which triggers various undesirable consequences. So this is the eutrophication. So this is a syndrome of the ecosystem. How do we identify whether eutrophication has happened or not? Is through the growth of green algae on the surface of the water body. For example, this is an example of eutrophication where the growth of algae on the surface of the water body is seen. So this is a condition of eutrophication. So this eutrophication is due to the enrichment of aquatic system by the addition of nutrients, as I discussed earlier. And the reason for this enrichment addition of nutrients is due to the leaching of phosphates and nitrate containing fertilizers from agricultural land into the lakes and rivers, and also addition of sewage water into the water bodies, and release of industrial effluents into the water bodies, because this sewage and industrial effluents also contains a lot of nutrients in the form of various sources. Okay, and this also adds nutrients to the water body. These are the reason. Okay, and this addition of nutrients into the water body will result in unsustainable growth of certain organisms, that is plant based organisms. These are called algae and blue green bacteria, and these organisms undergoes population explosion because of nutrient enrichment of the water. Okay, it reaches an unsustainable proportion, and these algal blooms covers entire surface of the water body. Okay, top layer of the water body, as I shown in a previous slide. Okay, and this population explosion and harmful algal bloom on the surface of the water body will restrict the penetration of sunlight into the deeper layers. Okay, because of the opaqueness due to the growth of these algal bodies. So this restriction of penetration of sunlight will result in the reduction in the growth of phytoplanktons, because phytoplanktons are the important source of oxygen in the soil, because they fixes the photosynthesis, and these are all the basic food source for zooplanktons and other subsequent chain of organisms in the aquatic ecosystem. So this restriction of penetration of sunlight will result in the reduction in oxygen concentration in the soil, sorry, water, and this algal blooms after the death reaches the bottom of the water body, and there it undergoes decomposition. So for decomposition the oxygen is required. Okay, oxygen is required, and various microorganisms like bacteria, fungi, saprophytes utilizes the oxygen present in the water to decompose this harmful algal blooms which are dead. Okay, and this consumes significant amount of oxygen, and uh, this result in the availability of less oxygen for the other organisms present in the water, including fishes and other aquatic organisms. So this result in the suffocation and death of aquatic animals. Okay, so this is the major effect of eutrophication on the aquatic ecosystem. So because of the less amount of dissolved oxygen in the water, this is creating a condition of anaerobic environment, where anaerobic means without oxygen. Okay, anaerobic environment also triggers the growth of a different class of organism called bacteria, called clostridium botulinum. This clostridium botulinum produces toxins, okay, which are harmful, lethal to the various aquatic organisms, including fishes, okay, shellfishes and other fishes. So if any mammal or bird consumes these poisoned aquatic organisms, then they are also has the possibility of die, okay, of death. And this whole chain reaction will result in the degradation of aquatic ecosystem. So in nature there are two different types of eutrophication. One is natural eutrophication and another one is man-made eutrophication. Under natural eutrophication, it occurs over a period of centuries. Okay, this is a slow process, and this is temporary. Okay, and this is due to addition of nutrients through nature itself. And this man-made phenomenon is a recent phenomenon with the interference in the ecosystem, and this happens very quickly over a decade. That means 8 to 10 years eutrophication can happen in a water body. And man contributes various sources of nutrients into the water body, for example through agricultural operations, sewage treatments, or industrial effluents. Okay, and what are the sources of nutrients which triggers eutrophication? These include point sources, which have directly contribute nutrients to the water body, and the second is non-point sources. Here the point sources include wastewater effluent, that is sewage from the municipal and industrial bodies. The second is runoff and leaching from waste disposal system, runoff and infiltration from animal feedlots, okay, runoff from mines, oil fields, unsewered industrial sites, overflow of combined storm and sanitary sewage water. Okay, these are all the important point sources, that is direct sources for addition of nutrients into the water body. And the second is non-point sources. This include runoff from agriculture and irrigation. This is the major source of addition of nutrients into the water body, which causes eutrophication. The second is runoff from pasture and range, and urban runoff from unsewered areas, septic tank leakages, runoff from construction sites of more than 20,000 square meter, runoff from abandoned mines, okay, atmospheric deposition over a water surface. For example, if nitrogen is deposited to the atmosphere through various burning of fossil fuels, that also contributes nitrogen to the water body through rain or other means. So these are the point and non-point sources for eutrophication. So this diagram will explain clearly about the eutrophication. Here the sunlight is the major source of energy for aquatic ecosystem as well, and with the addition of nitrogen, phosphorus nutrients into the soil through various sources that I mentioned in the previous slide, through point and non-point sources, these increases the phytoplankton, that is blue-green algae and blue-green bacteria in the soil. So this covers the whole soil surface. Okay, this restricted the flow of sunlight into the deeper layers. Thereby it reduces the oxygen. Okay, after the death of these algal blooms, they reaches the bottom of the water body. Okay, and for decaying and converting them into organic carbon, the various saprophytes, that is bacteria, fungi, and other microorganisms utilize oxygen present in the water to break down this organic matter. So this consumes a lot of oxygen. So this will result in the shortage of oxygen in the water body. So this will create suffocation for the aquatic organisms, including fishes and other organisms in the soil. So this is a chain reaction. And now let's discuss about the effects of eutrophication. Okay, these effects includes change in the ecosystem. This eutrophication phenomenon will change the entire ecosystem of the aquatic life, and this result in the formation of detritus layer, that is the saprophytes, which decomposes the dead and decayed matter. Okay, and this is an important addition after the eutrophication, and this also converts the aquatic ecosystem into a marshy land, because lot of harmful algal blooms after their death reaches the bottom of the water body, and this will create the marshy condition. This increases the turbidity, so this changes the entire ecosystem of the aquatic life. Okay, and the second important thing is that it decreases the biodiversity, because it reduces the oxygen, and it reduces the sunlight penetration into the water body because of the growth of harmful algal blooms. So because of the less oxygen and less light penetration, it reduces the biodiversity and plant and animal life in the water body. And the third is that it results in the new species invasion, because the aerobic condition is converted into anaerobic condition because of the reduction in the oxygen concentration. A new class of species will emerge in this ecosystem, like Clostridium botulinum and other anaerobic organisms. The fourth thing is that it increases the toxicity in the water body because of the growth of anaerobic bacteria like Clostridium botulinum and other harmful algal blooms. These organisms has neurotoxins. Okay, they produce neurotoxins and hepatotoxins, and these are lethal to the aquatic organisms as well as the human beings and mammals. So this increases the toxicity of the water as well as the living organisms, thereby destabilizing the whole ecosystem itself. And it also reduces the growth of coral reefs. Okay, and the color of the water body is changed from transparent to various colors like blue, green, or red, or other colors depending upon the pigmentation of the blue green algae and bacteria. And it increases the gelatinous zooplanktons. This is also toxic to most of the uh, organisms. So these are all the effects of uh, eutrophication on the aquatic ecosystem. And how this eutrophication can be mitigated? There are various ways we can reduce the eutrophication. One of the important thing is that by creating buffer. Okay, buffer between the water body and the source of nutrients. Okay, this buffer restrict the movement of nutrients into the water body. For example, by creating grasses, by growing grasses or check burns, or similar constructions. So the second thing is reducing the soil erosion will also reduce the leaching of nutrients into the nearby water bodies. This can be done by the growth of grasses and flowing across the slope. Okay, and other means. And the next thing is, while applying fertilizers to the agricultural land, soil testing. Okay, soil testing should be done, and fertilizer will be applied based on the requirement of the soil, rather than application of fertilizers blindly. Okay, and another important thing is adoption of organic farming, which reduces the use of fertilizers, and adoption of integrated nutrient management, integrating various sources of fertilizers in the agricultural operation, including organic, inorganic, and other means. Okay, and this also reduces the fertilizer runoff to the nearby water bodies, thereby reducing the nutrient addition to the water body. And the another thing is that sewage treatment. Okay, sewage treatment before releasing into the water also reduces the eutrophication. So this is it. Thanks for watching. Please share, watch my previous videos on environment and ecology series. Thanks.